Welcome back to our 3PR series, pattern, posture, position, reposition, retrain, restore. Those are our 3 Ps and our 3 Rs of what we're trying to do to kind of describe what we do here at the Vascular Clinic. We've described all those Ps and all those Rs, and you go back and look at other videos, but I wanted to answer one question today that maybe is a big question. Why should we even reposition? What does this even mean? What's the point? Why do we even do it? Should we just treat what we see and treat what hurts? What's this whole reposition thing about? So remember that the pattern that we utilize, the pattern of breathing, of standing, of walking, these inherent patterns that are normal to humans, lead to certain postures that we see which put bones in certain positions. So in our last video we talked about the left AIC pattern, which is a pattern that tends to want to lateralize our center of gravity to the right side. The position that puts the pelvis is in a little bit of a forward tilt on the left side, or a little bit of a relative back tilt on the right side, or an overall orientation towards the right. So that's the position that the pelvis gets in. So we said, well, the first step of treatment is we want to reposition that. Well, why? What's the whole point of that? Well, there's 2 reasons. There's 2 main reasons why we would do that. The position of that pelvis puts this socket or this socket in an alignment or position where it affects function. So we're going to see limitations in mobility in either hip in certain directions based on the position. So by repositioning that pelvis, it should give us better access for that specific joint or that specific segment or that specific muscle. So if I've got an issue with a hip, well, making sure that the pelvis is in a good position is a good first start of how to reposition it. Now, that's not the only reason. In fact, that's a very small part of really what we're trying to do. Because remember, this position is part of a bigger pattern. So by repositioning the bones, what we're going to do is give us access to a whole movement pattern that we don't understand. So it's not just about making sure that the pelvis is in a good spot so that my hamstring has a better mobility or that my hip can move from side to side better, which will happen, but it's to make sure that I have access to a whole new movement pattern that I have to learn and retrain and restore of how to get over to my left side and walk normally or move my body normally without limitation. So remember, repositioning is not a local activity. I don't just reposition my pelvis just to change the alignment of this hip socket, though that does happen. The goal of repositioning is to really give you access to a whole nother pattern of position and posture and movement that you didn't have access to before. So repositioning gives us access to a whole movement patterns, or should. So that's the point. It's not just a local thing. So with that said, here's the other thing we need to make sure. If we're just looking at one specific joint or one specific position or one specific angle, I have a rib flare on my left side, or wide angle, or a narrow angle, or an anterior tilt, or a shoulder that's lower. All those are positions and postures. But if you're looking at one of those things to guide your treatment and saying, hey, I see this picture, and this is guiding my treatment, you're missing the big picture. The whole point is big picture movement patterns. Those give you clues. Pictures give you clues, but I don't treat a picture. People send me a picture, hey, I have this wide angle, I have this rib flare, what should I do? Well, I can't treat a picture. I don't treat an x-ray because that just tells me a snapshot in time of that person. I'm going to treat a whole pattern and a whole position based on all the tests that we look together. So don't look at pictures, don't look at x-rays, look at people. Treat people, look at their patterns, look at their position. That's what we do here at the clinic. Hope this was helpful. Have a great week. Hope to talk to you more soon. Thanks.